Though Nintendo's handhelds have no shortage of quality RPGs, the same can't always be said about their home consoles, with consoles like the N64 famous for how few they had. That all changed, of course, when Nintendo's handheld and home console output combined into one with the Switch, giving players the most variety and choice in RPGs in Nintendo history. If you want to sink dozens of hours into role-playing royalty, these are the best Switch RPGs you should be playing. Number 10. Triangle Strategy. Triangle Strategy has a slow burn introduction, but stick with it and you'll find yourself a challenging strategy RPG gem with a grounded yet incredibly enthralling story about resource wars, religious persecution and racism, and the many difficult decisions a leader must face during wartime. Though Triangle Strategy's gameplay will be familiar to fans of Fire Emblem and Final Fantasy Tactics, it features twists of its own to stand out from the crowd. Rather than MP or breakable weapons, characters' skills rely on tactical points, which slowly recharge each turn. Things like the environment and the position a unit is facing is also key to victory, as characters can do things like strike from behind for more damage and use elemental magic to alter the battlefield. But what happens outside of combat is equally important. During exploration and cutscenes, the actions and dialogue choices taken by protagonist Serenoa affect three stats called Utility, Liberty, and Morality. These come into play when his army faces a difficult decision. These moments all come down to a vote, and Serenoa can influence party members' decisions in his favour by making the correct arguments and having a strong enough conviction in each category. These decisions take the story in wildly different directions, adding a lot of replayability to one of the Switch's most overlooked gems. Let's be honest, it's probably because of the name. Let's be honest. Number 9. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. After the Paper Mario series entered an incredibly divisive era with the release of Sticker Star on the 3DS, a return to form seemed like a pipe dream. Much less a remake of the series' most beloved entry. But it happened, and the Switch was graced with a gorgeous visual uplift for Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. This release, while faithful to the original, remakes the visuals from the ground up with an art style reminiscent of modern entries, and while it implements a variety of quality of life features like a streamlined fast travel system and faster partner switching, the Thousand Year Door at its core has aged incredibly well, with a battle system that feels snappy and streamlined to this day. The story sees Mario and some new allies travel the world for the Crystal Stars to unlock the titular door, while fending off the threat of an organisation called the X-Nauts. I mean, it still is an early 2000s game. It strikes a good balance between humour and a darker, more serious tone, avoiding later games' over-reliance on paper-related gags and gimmicks to move its story and combat forward. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door was a classic in 2004, and it's still a classic now in 2024. One that's a must-play for those looking to appreciate Mario's history in the RPG genre. But best of all, it's killed off this ridiculous pricing in one fell swoop. Delicious. Number 8. Pokemon Legends Arceus. In spite of the rough and often lackluster visuals, which are still miles better than Scarlet and Violet, Pokemon Legends Arceus manages to be the best game the series has seen in quite some time, with some of Game Freak's boldest innovations for the franchise to boot. In place of the usual structure, Legends is an open-world adventure that has players braving the wilds of Hisui, Sinnoh in the distant past, to research and catch its Pokemon. But these wild mon won't just hop out and then politely wait for you to send out your own Pokemon. They're liable to attack you on sight, and there's a real risk of getting injured and knocked out like you're visiting London. The use of things like crafted tools and even stealth are necessary to survive in this dangerous new world, just like London. The overhauled combat features an order of upcoming turns in a list, and the moves you use and the styles with which you use them can influence that turn order. Combined with the removal of held items and abilities and seamless transitions into and out of battle, it makes for a fast-paced and satisfying combat system that's honestly the kind of change this series has been craving. Arceus, despite the wonky performance and graphics, is an absolute treat to play and a welcome breath of fresh air for the series. Here's hoping Pokemon Legend ZA can match what Arceus achieved while also maybe not having Goldengo pop in at me from like 1 foot away. Get away from me, you stupid cheese string. Number 7, The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure. Falcom's Trails series has been slowly gaining recognition over the past decade, and rightfully so. These games are absolute whippers, featuring a massive sprawling story spread over more than a dozen games, and beyond the many amazing characters you'll meet and the twists and turns they'll endure, Trails is a masterclass in world building with a level of attention to detail that puts even AAA games to shame. Among the 4 story arcs released, the Crossbell arc is often regarded as the best in the series. Set in the titular state, Trails from Zero and its sequel Trails to Azure star a special police squad who have the unenviable task of helping repair the force's reputation by aiding citizens with requests, on top of their usual work dealing with Crossbell City's notorious criminal underworld. Azure ups the stakes by putting a larger focus on international politics and ancient conspiracies. It's an emotional peek that delves into themes like how far people are willing to go to save their country, and whether it's a price worth paying for humanity at large. Get back in your cave. Like the rest of the series, the game also features fantastic turn-based combat and an incredible soundtrack. But also, like the rest of the series, it's the storytelling that keeps fans coming back. This arc in particular inspired a level of passion that brings to mind the game's themes of overcoming barriers, as a fan translation became the basis of the official English localization. Cool. Number 6, Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
I am Ferdinand von Ayer.
Fire Emblem's popularity has absolutely surged in the decade since Awakening revitalized the series, with Fire Emblem Fates and Fire Emblem Echoes going on to sell over 1 million copies each. It should be no surprise then that the series' debut on Switch made an even bigger splash, drawing in tons of new fans. Fire Emblem 3 Houses has players take the role of a mercenary turned professor tasked with teaching one of 3 potential classes in the art of war. Each of the 3 houses, the Black Eagles, Blue Lions and Golden Deer, feature different students and ultimately branch out into different storylines. I don't know why I said Golden Deer like that, I felt like I had to. I don't know why. Refreshingly, compared to the likes of Awakening and Fates, there's a much bigger emphasis on world building and political intrigue. It's a far more grounded war story than past Fire Emblem games, and the fantastic character development on some routes only serves to make it all even better. 3 Houses augments traditional Fire Emblem strategy gameplay with elements that fans of Persona might find familiar, including time management mechanics that have players planning out lectures and activities to improve students' abilities. Even the series' staple support conversations are recontextualized under the system, making them a tad reminiscent of social links. Though this entry in the series is a tad bit lacking in the graphical department, especially in interior locations, everything else came together to produce something widely beloved, especially compared to the more divisive follow-up, Fire Emblem Engage, which is, it's still a good game, but does feel like a spin-off compared to this already classic Switch RPG. Number 5, Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age. Sorry. Dragon Quest XI's, like its predecessors, is a traditional JRPG that tells the story of a chosen hero rising up back on the street to fight against evil. It's a tale as old as Mario beating Bowser to death with a lead pipe, but the series has proven time and time again it's not about the road you walk, but how you walk it. In an era where everyone is pressured to add some big twist to their games, Dragon Quest XI remains confident in evoking the style of the classics, yet also pulling ahead of the competition due to sheer polish. The late great Akira Toriyama's art style has always lent itself well to vibrant and colourful games, and Dragon Quest XI's rendition brings to life the old school medieval fantasy that's sure to evoke nostalgia in all its players. Its cast of characters are also some of the series' best. They may all be following the Luminary because it's their destiny to fight alongside him, but doesn't stop them from all feeling like true companions, each of which have their own wants, needs and worries. With fantastic presentation, amazing voice acting, a smoother difficulty curve for beginners and a hard mode for veterans, and numerous quality of life improvements, Dragon Quest XI's is truly the best place for newcomers to start the series. And it certainly helps that this definitive re-release adds a heap of new content, including the ability to play the entire game in a 2D mode reminiscent of SNES RPGs. That's nice. Number 4, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. Atlus has become a tad infamous for continuing to use an updated re-release model even in the era of DLC expansions. First, they'll release a new game and then a few years down the line follow it up with a new version that adds new quality of life features and a ton of new content. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, however, is one of the few such re-releases that justifies this model with just how much it changes. Do you hear that? You listening? Put stuff in, don't take it out. The original SMT5 was hailed as a fantastic post-apocalyptic turn-based RPG, filled with the challenge you would expect from the series. Its story, however, left a lot to be desired, with it feeling very rushed and underdeveloped. Vengeance, though, remedies this issue in an unusual way by adding a completely new and separate campaign called the Canon of Vengeance. This path adds new major characters and greatly fleshes out existing ones, making for a much more satisfying experience. The Canon of Vengeance also completely diverges from the original plot, now rebranded as the Canon of Creation, as the new characters make unforeseen impacts on the story's events. This re-release also makes a massive amount of tweaks and changes to streamline the experience, such as being able to save anywhere. It elevates SMT5 from being a very good RPG to one of the Switch's best, and a must-play for Atlus fans and newcomers alike. But expect pain, the pain makes it feel better. Number 3, Octopath Traveler 2.
It's my turn. Take this! Stay down!
The original Octopath Traveler was an admirable attempt to meld classic RPG designs and styles with modern sensibilities. It featured gorgeous visuals, a satisfying turn-based combat system, customization with job classes, and a surprising amount of non-linear freedom. Where it failed, however, was in tying everything together narratively. Octopath featured 8 playable characters, of whom you'd pick one to start with, after which you'd go around recruiting the others and experiencing everyone's stories, which sounds pretty good on paper. These 8 travelers, however, never actually interact with each other during their respective storylines, as their interactions are saved for unvoiced travel banter scenes that can easily be missed. What's more, the true final boss was hidden behind obscure side quests, and the lore revelations lacked any sense of emotional impact. Octopath Traveler 2 then was everything that a sequel to that game needed to be. It addressed virtually all of the major flaws in those systems and storytelling structures. Travel banter can no longer be permanently missed and occurs more frequently, and crossed paths chapters give the cast chances to actually interact on screen. Goodness me, that was hard to say. Crossed path chapters cast chances. I don't think that's quite right. Anyway, combined with better stories all around and a much improved finale, this second outing is a polished experience that finally manages to reach true greatness. And because Octopath Traveler 2 is set in a new continent with a new cast and set of stories, it's the perfect place for newcomers to jump in and see the hype behind Square Enix's line of HD 2D RPGs. They're bangers, they're doing real good stuff. Number 2 is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Following the success of Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii, Monolith Soft spent the next decade refining and expanding their craft. Xenoblade Chronicles X's open world pushed the Wii U to its limits and was then punished by being forced to stay there forever, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 built itself on the original game's story-focused structure, while adding a hefty amount of customization and strategy. All of these prior entries were gems in their own right, but Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is the culmination of Monolith Soft's achievements and lessons learned so far. A more cohesive, polished art style and technical improvements make it one of the best looking games on Switch, while numerous quality of life enhancements address many of the series' long-standing issues. The headlining acts, of course, are the massive and gorgeous open world, one of the best combat systems of its genre, and an incredible emotional story that dives much deeper into philosophical territory than past entries. Even the side quests are some of the best in the series, and it's all brought to life with absolutely stellar voice direction. As far as Switch exclusive RPGs go, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a crowning jewel, one that will also give you incredible bang for your buck with over 200 hours worth of content, and that's not even getting into the equally incredible DLC expansion, Future Redeemed. However, it doesn't have my guy Ryuji in it, so the only winner for the best Switch RPG has to be number 1, Persona 5 Royal. Persona fans had been begging, sometimes nicely, for years for a Switch port of one of the greatest JRPGs of all time, which only intensified when Joker officially joined the playable roster of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in 2018. Those dreams finally came true in 2022, when Atlus finally unleashed their stylish masterpiece for every modern platform to enjoy. Like all of Atlus's other updated re-releases, Persona 5 Royal adds lots of new quality of life features to streamline the experience, as well as new content in the form of new and reworked confidants and an extra palace in the third trimester. Existing palaces have also been reworked, with altered puzzles and additions to help navigation and make party SB management even easier. While these changes do make the overall game noticeably a lot less challenging than the original, Persona 5 Royal is still effortlessly stylish with a thrilling storyline that will hook many players struggling with modern societal issues. The new story arc in the third trimester also forms a new emotional climax and makes for a far better finale than the original ending. To top it all off, not only does the game look and run great on Switch, but all DLC released for the PS4 version of Royal is included here as part of the package. This is one of the best JRPGs of the generation, and should be your next stop if you have even the slightest interest in the genre. It's the best Switch RPG there is, and we're more than ready for Persona on the Switch 2. Or 3, or whenever it's ready. Is everyone ready for the newest Persona 5 spin-off in the meantime? Persona 5 Evolution Soccer? Persona 5 Crazy Golf? Persona I Got 5 on it? And that was our video looking at the best Switch RPGs of all time. That time period since 2017 anyway. So yeah, we were going to do Wii RPGs, but I'm not sure there's much interest there. If you want to see that video, please do let us know down below. I've been Jimmy for Cultured Vultures, and thank you for watching.